Hello, everybody, and welcome to the My BFF Business Leaders Podcast. This podcast is designed to focus the spotlight on leading voices throughout the world of business. From marketing and technology to energy and finance, this podcast will feature brilliant minds that are shaping the future of every industry. There has never been a better time to make more business friends forever, so let's get started.
So a lot of times we think, in the social media world, we like, oh, we don't want to give away our secret sauce, our secret stuff. And guys, we can throw that out the window. Throw that out the window. That's 1995 thinking, right? So, basically, what we want to do here is we want to show people that, or educate people on how we achieve things and how we get our clients results, okay?
On this episode of the My BFF Business Leaders Podcast, we are joined by one of Yahoo's top 12 entrepreneurs to watch, the CEO of Lux Brand and bizbuzz, Ryan Mason. Ryan can only be described as a disruptive force that continues to exceed expectations and raise the bar. His work with Lux Brand has led to appearances on Good Morning America and the NFL Network, alongside partnerships with Foot Locker and over 30 athletes and celebrities across the globe. As a leading mind in the digital space, Ryan's goal with bizbuzz is to impact as many local businesses as he possibly can by optimizing their digital marketing efforts. His firsthand experiences has allowed him to craft his own book, which will be on the shelves soon. But today, you will get a sneak peek into the mindsets and strategies that set him apart from the rest of the competition and led to some great success. He's truly just getting started, so let's learn more about the life of business leader Ryan Mason. Hey Ryan, how are you doing today?
Hey Colton, glad to be here.
Awesome, yeah. I'm excited to have you on board. Thank you for taking the time to join us on this episode. At this part, we already kind of done a little introduction for our audience about who you are as a business leader, but could you tell them a bit more about who you are personally outside of your life as a professional?
Sure. So, my name is Ryan Mason again, and some of the things that I really enjoy is family. I think that as being an entrepreneur, obviously we are always trying to figure out how can we solve a ton of problems. And I understand the wheel behind this, but for me, I think some of the bigger things that I really want to focus on is just family and friends and enjoying the fruits of life.
Awesome. And I know you told me previously that you're out in Atlanta right now. Is your family local there too?
Well, actually, I'm originally from Birmingham, Alabama, and that is where my mom and dad is. I have a younger brother who is playing football in the SEC right now, and he is in Arkansas.
Oh, awesome. What positions he play?
He plays safety.
I'm a huge sports guy too, but we can save that for another time.
Oh, yeah.
But so on the university aspect, though, as you kind of were progressing and as an aspiring professional even, did you always envision you were going to be an entrepreneur? Did you think that your career path would align with where you are today?
Well, if you were to ask me that a couple of years back, the answer was absolutely not. One of the things I didn't really realize is how many people actually ran local businesses within my intermediate family. But at that time, my single biggest dream was to follow in my father's footsteps and go play professional football.
Awesome. Where did your father play professional football with? What franchise?
He played for Green Bay Packers, actually.
Okay, cool. That's fantastic. So now kind of switching gears to you and your work, you are the CEO of two fantastic, successful businesses in Lux and bizbuzz. So to start on the Lux side of things, could you give our listeners a little bit of an overview of what your business is and what your brand is?
Right. So Lux Brand, we are the leading branded provider of luxury leather shoelaces in the U.S. What makes us unique is that we create these super cool luxury laces made from genuine Italian lambskin and sometimes other exotic leathers. But basically we give, just people the resource and to actually express their fashion sense within their shoes.
So Ryan, how did you get started with Lux and making shoelaces?
Yeah, that's a really good question, Colton. So it was actually a means to an end for me. I went through this period where I was playing college football at the University of North Alabama. And if you can remember what I said, my single biggest dream was to go to the top, right? So here I am at a small university, and I'm playing college football on full scholarship, but it wasn't what I had envisioned the whole time, right? So for me, things, I don't know if you know much about, athletes, but the thing is, we wake up at 4 in the morning and we would go work out. And then the next thing you know, we're in class all day and we get a small lunch that we, have to struggle and, well, hurry to eat actually for about 20 minutes and stuff our face. And then next thing you know, we're running to football meetings and then we're going to practice and it's extremely hot. We're extremely fatigued. And then after that, we have to study for some big test coming up. Right. So there was a lot of energy and, focus that I was using to do that. But there were some unfortunate things that happened. There's politics involved in sports. There's just a lot of different things that are out of your control. And I was hit with a lot of this stuff. So for me, in my head, I really wanted to figure out, how do I get out of this rut that I'm in? How do I get out of this unhappiness that I'm in? And the only thing that could really, that really came over me was potentially walking away from a full scholarship. For me, I feel like this will give me opportunity to, actually just spend my energy towards something that I felt like I would be doing for potentially the rest of my life. I knew I wanted to learn some other skills, maybe around the business sector, but I didn't realize that it was going to lead me into owning my own business. But basically, I had to plead a case to my parents and my friends so that I didn't be, so that I wasn't seen as a failure or in my head, so that I wasn't, just deemed as giving an excuse and trying to find a different path because of an excuse that I had given. So that's why I say it was actually a means to an end for me, because I needed a way to justify that I wasn't crazy to think about transitioning my life.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And actually, I played collegiate baseball as well. And yeah, know exactly what you're kind of describing in terms of travel schedules and balancing the education aspect with so many practices and sessions like that for player development. And one of the really kind of fascinating topics here that I'd love to have your input on is, do you believe that those struggles kind of throughout your freshman year, so to speak, at college and trying your best to kind of work your way up the ranks on the team, do you believe that that structure, lifestyle, and the struggle it caused you internally ultimately helped you thrive as an entrepreneur?
Absolutely. I mean, absolutely. Like all of the things that I went through, I wouldn't change it ever, just because it prepared me. It made me disciplined. It literally gave me the energy. It allowed me to learn how to focus and to channel my energy, the negative things, and get those out of my system and out of my view and use it to something better.
Mm-hmm. And I think, yeah, me personally too, from a maturity aspect. I mean, as a college kid, you're going into playing sports and you're only focused on sports. That's all it is. You say education will come in the background, but then you start to learn the lessons of life and how it can prepare you outside of just the sport that you're going to have to hang your cleats up at some point. So it's really fascinating to me that, and obviously I can see it in your drive, that you're able to take those struggles and turn it into such a high level of productivity.
Right, right. I completely agree. Hey, you've lived that life, so you get it too.
Exactly. And so turning it back to Lux now, you do a lot, or your product really thrives with professional athletes. I know that I read in the research preparing for this that Marquise Goodwin scored a touchdown when he was wearing your laces last year, and it was highlighted on Good Morning Football. So is that kind of a target demographic that you were striving to dive headfirst into?
Yeah, absolutely. Just from my background and my pedigree, and just the natural way that things are going in the sports industries now. People they love to just show their style, their swag on the field. And it's just a natural fit for us because this is something that is super unique, super new, and it allows them to actually style it the way that they want to style it.
Mm-hmm. And is that what ultimately kind of the athlete aspect led you into, like the public showings on Good Morning America, or kind of could you talk a little bit more about that media coverage?
Yeah, yeah. So, actually, there was a point in time where I was doing so many different things, and it's hard sometimes to pinpoint exactly what that one thing was that basically kind of tipped it over for Good Morning
Hmm.
America and Foot Locker. But basically, I definitely know that contributed to it. We had a lot of press going on before, Tori Johnson basically decided to say, hey, actually, she sent me an email. It's like, hey, we would love to have your product on the show. And, but there are several things that I did, and I was able to actually document that stuff in terms of, how to actually start to generate buzz for your brand and for your business. So, yeah, I'm actually, by the way, I do have a book that I'm going to release, and we can talk about that later. But I'm actually putting a lot of these strategies, some of them simple, some of them more complex, but they're all going to go in this book so that other business owners who are in that space can actually learn from it.
Awesome. Yeah, excited to dive into that too as we kind of switch over to your other aspect, your other business with BizBuzz. But yeah, before we kind of dive into that brand there, I think you just touched on something that you're doing so much. You're doing so many different things. And today, being the CEO of two different entities, you're probably still doing so much. So what does like a day in the life of Ryan Mason look like?
Yeah, so one thing's for sure. After I stopped playing football, I said I would not wake up at 4 in the morning and go work out for a really, really long time, and I still haven't done that. But
Yeah, you didn't enjoy that. That's surprising.
yeah, oh my goodness, yeah, I said I am done.
Yeah.
But yeah, so good question. A day in the life. So right now, usually I am getting up around 8 o'clock. I do work all night long in most cases, but so I get up around 8 o'clock. I kind of just take a moment to really, just say a prayer. For some people, that's maybe chant a mantra or something like that. But I really want to enjoy my peace of mind first in the morning. And eventually after that, what I'll do is I'll get up and do the rest of the things that I need to do. But I make sure I eat a good, healthy meal. I think that is
Mhm.
one of the big things as entrepreneurs and CEOs and high performers, we neglect sometimes. We neglect family. We neglect, taking care of our bodies. And that is important because I don't care what you do, you can have multiple businesses, but you only get one body.
Mhm.
And some of those members in your family, you only get them once, right? Well,
Mhm.
not even some of them, but all of them, you only get them once. So
Mhm.
you got to make sure that you are being mindful and you are giving and treating people with care and love, as you should be treating yourself as well.
Mhm.
So I think that's one of the biggest things that I make sure I do is be mindful and caring and loving of my family members in the morning. But after that, I usually go into meetings. So I kind of every once in a while I kind of like have to recheck my schedule. But it is usually, thank goodness, it's always full. But what this has taught me from having a full schedule is you got to be very strict. You got to be very streamlined. There's sometimes where I'm on a call with just some of my employees and some of my team, and basically I'm like, hey guys, I got 3 minutes. And they're in the middle of a sentence. I'm like, okay, guys, I gotta go. But we'll
Cut it
we'll
off.
fi- we'll finish it at another time. But having that schedule and really living and dying by that schedule is really amazing for me because it gives me some structure so
Mhm.
that it's not chaotic. Because if I don't follow and have that written down, then I won't be seeing a lot of progress, and
Mhm.
that ultimately affects my people and the team around me. So I don't want to be that person.
And if you don't mind me asking, with all that you have going on day to day, do you ever feel overwhelmed? And when you do, is there any specific things that you do to kind of get you back on track and get you back in that streamlined mindset for the rest of your day?
Yeah, absolutely. In a lot of cases, it's literally me just looking at the board that has my schedule on it. But working out,
Hmm.
that's one of the things that, especially because of COVID right now. Oh my goodness, I'm probably in the best shape that I've been in since playing college football.
Awesome.
So COVID has done. I mean, it's been amazing to me, and I just know that for me, it's been amazing in terms of just the mental shift. So for me, or for us, we're always running so much. We're running, we're
Hmm.
running, we're running, we're running, and we don't realize it. So it's given us the break that we needed to just sit back and relax and
Hmm.
enjoy and think about things a little differently. But for me, the I can say one of the biggest things that I've been focusing on is just being consistent with working out. that is a time that I get to where I can decompress, I can get completely away from business, and I can focus on other things.
Mhm.
So that is it for me. The physical
Awesome.
fitness piece is doing wonders for me.
That's great, and yeah, I think our audience would be really excited to hear that. Obviously, everybody has different ways that they cope with stress or anxiety, whatever that looks like. But I would personally agree with you too of being active and doing something outside of out of the workspace and sitting at a computer all day or sitting on meetings and Zoom calls now. Yeah, it can definitely give you that break that's much needed. So that's fantastic to hear.
And it's important to because like you said, you made a great point. What works for me may not work for someone else,
Hmm.
right? So it's important for you to really think about this stuff because,
Hmm.
like I said, while we're running, we're not thinking about what this looks like, or we're not thinking about the effects that, you know, the effects of literally doing this for 5 years in a row without taking a break can cause on your body and your mental and physical landscape. So you got to
Hmm.
think about those things.
Absolutely. So let's stay on that topic of kind of, yeah, the long term aspect and beyond, but as it relates to you and your work with BizBuzz. So one thing that I thought was fascinating before we kind of jumped on this recording is that you pointed out three very key ingredients that you thought ultimately built successful businesses, and that was people, process, and platform. Could you expound upon this a little bit more? Because I really, really love this mantra and would love to have our audience kind of hear it from your aspect or your insights itself.
Sure, sure. So it goes like this, right? The right people follow a
Hmm.
process and they use platforms to do it at scale. Okay. So the right people may be, let's just say if they're in your marketing or sales team, right? The right people are bringing you leads. They're um, putting on a good representation of the company. They're carrying out the culture. So they're not just being the same person while working, but they're also being a great person outside of working as well. But those people follow a process that you have defined. And you've made this process almost step by step so that if any new person comes along the way, they know exactly what to do. They have a system of checks and balances, and they can follow that process without having too much trouble. And
Hmm.
basically, they use platforms to do this at scale, right? So, what I mean by that is they use platforms to help them help them be more efficient and also do more of it. So, in turn, basically, this creates a growth machine, right? And basically, those are the three ingredients that I feel like are super, super important to
Hmm.
building that powerful business.
That's great. And focusing specifically on that platform aspect, do you have kind of like a preferred medium that you and your team devote a heavier focus to when it comes to either brand building or just growth overall for businesses?
Yeah, absolutely. So one thing for sure is Instagram.
Hmm.
We love Instagram. That is where I have one of my largest followings. But also LinkedIn. LinkedIn is very powerful, especially in the business space. We've been able to literally, when I think about it, a couple of years back, we didn't focus on it as much. But when we really started to focus on it, we were able to build amazing, just like word of mouth through
Hmm.
digital. Like, for example, we have about 900 different people who have literally went on there and endorsed me and endorsed some of the things that I'm doing. And, it didn't start that way.
Hmm.
It didn't start that way. But when you have a process and you have the right people, you can actually achieve some of those things.
And so now jump into the process aspect. Would there be specific things that you'd be willing to delve into as it relates to those platforms? So specific kind of social media growth strategies that you guys are using day to day for your business, for your brand, as well as clients on LinkedIn and Instagram?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's really simple. So when you think about it, all right, if you're trying to sell a product or a service and you want to capture someone's attention and you want them to eventually convert or hand over money or whatever value and exchange value with them, right? You got to think about this, right? You need a way to connect with them. All
Hmm.
right. You have to figure out ways to stand out. What we were taught in a lot of cases growing up was to fit in, but this
Hmm.
doesn't really work, right? In terms of getting attention, right? So
Yeah.
that's the word, that's the key word right there, attention. Okay. So what we've done and what I've really seen to be very successful, not only within my own businesses, but also the other 200 plus companies we've helped that are local businesses, is why, how, and what. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
these are basically a series of 1 minute videos. And basically, the why is your story. So that's a 1 minute video of you telling your story. And that is how
Mm-hmm.
people are going to connect with you. Right. So the next one is the how. Right. And that is literally simply videos of you sharing your expertise. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times we think, in the social media world, we like, oh, we don't want to give away our secret sauce, our secret stuff. And guys, that's, hey, we can throw that out the window. Throw that
Yeah.
out the window. That's 1995 thinking, right? So, so basically, what we want to do here is we want to show people that, or educate people on how we achieve things and how we get our clients results. Okay, and then that funnels on down into a what. Okay, which is the offering. Okay, so basically, what you guys can do is when you start to create these 1 minute videos, basically, if you think about it, if you put yourself in the prospect shoe, once they see that why video, they're like, okay, that's a really cool story. I like that
Mm-hmm.
story. And then that's going to get them interested, right? That's going to get them interested and possibly to see more. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, they're going to be in the consideration stage, right? So they're going to be considering, you know, just watching more of your stuff, or, diving into who you are. And that is basically the how videos. So at that stage, they're looking for more information. And now all you got to do is give them that information,
Yeah.
right? And then the what, right, is basically the offering. So at that stage, they trust you, they know their story, they like you, and now it makes it 10 times easier for them to convert.
Mm-hmm. No, that's fantastic. And so, swinging back now to your book, are these content strategies and different kind of focal points that individuals that purchase your book would be able to kind of find in there, taken directly from you and your experiences?
Absolutely, absolutely. We literally have a whole section dedicated just to content and how to create that type of content. So, just to give you a little background on that book, so it's going to be called the Digital Playbook. It's going to be releasing in November. We're going to do an early release as well, but it'd be perfect time for you guys to get it during Christmas, and also gift it to some of those aspiring entrepreneurs around you guys. But basically, there's 6 phases. Okay. And the phases are plumbing. So basically, we're going to teach businesses how to basically get their analytics and their data tracking in place, because it doesn't matter how fast you grow or how far you get. If you don't have the tracking and the data and the analytics in place, then you will not know where you could spend more or spend less and get better results. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So phase one is plumbing. Phase two is goals. So we're going to teach you how to run through those goals so that you can benchmark it, you can quantify it. Content is basically, we're going to talk about the 1 minute videos, why, how, and what, that strategy, and how to create other content around that. All right, to further incentivize engagement. Okay, and then the next stage is targeting. So we want to make sure that we show you how to target on Facebook and Instagram. All right, and other social media channels. So we want to make sure we teach you how to target and really dive down and understand the audiences and what they mean. And then after that, you have the fifth phase, which is amplification. So we're going to teach you how to amplify the word of mouth and the content that you have
Mm-hmm.
by using the dollar a day strategy,
Oh,
right?
that's really cool.
Yeah.
And
So a lot of people don't realize that you can actually be successful and understand, and they don't understand how to be successful with using a dollar a day. So the
Mhm.
strategy is simple. You're able to take these ads and these videos and these short clips and boost them for $1 a day. And after boosting them and retargeting them, and the book is going to teach you how to do all of that, you can actually pick the winners, the ones that are getting the most engagement, the ones that the audience is liking the most, and apply more to it. So
Mhm.
you're cutting all the fat, and now you're amplifying it. And then the last phase is optimization. And we're going to teach you guys how to basically optimize those ads so that you can get the best spin for your buck.
That's really cool. Yeah, really excited to deep dive into that. And it seems like you cover all grounds from the digital marketing aspect or even just personal brand growth too. So yeah, that'll be a really sweet release.
So it definitely works for personal and for business, because when you think about it, when you're building your personal brand, I mean, in reality, you are functioning as a business.
Yeah, I know. I really like that concept. And so, sticking to you and your personal brand now, I just saw that you were recently recognized by Yahoo as one of their top 12 entrepreneurs to look out for in 2020. So first off, congratulations on that.
Thank you so much.
And I'd love to kind of hear more about that. Like, how has that experience been for you in terms of kind of the vetting process from their aspect, or what you're seeing now after the fact? If you could, yeah, give us a little walkthrough.
Yeah, the experience has been phenomenal. Oh my goodness. I mean,
Hmm.
it is. I can't even explain it. So I went to a concert a few days ago. It's a parking lot concert, so it's really unique. Where you drive your vehicles up, almost like the drive-in theaters,
Hmm.
and you are dedicated a space to the right of you to basically have fun with your very close group of friends, right?
Hmm.
So social distancing is involved to an extent. Well, basically, so I'm at this event and I went by myself, and you know, I met a friend there who is a photographer, and we were just talking, and it was a long time since we had seen each other. So basically, we were walking, and someone called us over and said, "Hey guys, come on over here and join us." So we went over there for a second, and I'm just talking and I'm telling my story, and I literally see the guy pulling out his camera, and I don't think anything of it until he's like, "Hey, we got to get an interview right now." And I'm like, "Oh my god, right now? I'm not ready." But it comes to find out, this magazine has hundreds of thousands. I mean, yeah, hundreds of thousands of followers, and I'm just like, "Oh my goodness, okay." Well, basically, I after doing that interview, I could hear people like, "Hey, what's this guy do? Who's he? Blah blah blah."
Hmm.
And by the time it's over with, I try to go back to my vehicle, to my designated spot, and they're like, "Oh no, you're with us. You're with us." So I ended up backstage, and
Oh, that's
that's
awesome.
just a just an amazing. I had an amazing time with amazing people, but
Hmm.
yeah. So just to give you the story of how it kind of happened, it's kind of weird. All of these stories, actually, by the way, have been kind of weird for me. But basically, let's see here. The Tuesday before the week that it happened, I got a message from a friend of mine, and we had done some business together before. And he said, "Hey, can you shoot me a bio, and can you shoot me a headshot?" And it was one of those days where I was so busy that I just shot it to him. I had it all in a folder. I keep a personal branding portfolio, and I just shot it to him and didn't think anything of it. I completely forgot that I did it. Well,
Hmm.
Thursday, he said, "Get prepared because it's dropping." And I'm like, great. I'm thinking, he's dropping something about himself, because he does very very good work. And I was like, I can't
Hmm.
wait to see what you come out with next. And he said, "No, just think about it." I mean, every single time that I have an opportunity to share your story and to talk about you, I do. And I said, "Oh man, that makes me feel amazing." So at this point, I'm like, "You're gonna make me lose sleep. You're gonna have to give me something. I have no idea what's going on right here."
Hmm.
So basically, after that, he says, "Well, just know it's big time." So um, basically, a few days later, it had released, and I was on a list with Gary Vee and
Hmm.
Neil Patel, and it just blew my mind. So it
Yeah.
has been amazing. It has been an
Uh,
amazing journey.
That's awesome. Yeah, congratulations again. And as you kind of continue with your work, obviously, and it's really cool to see your humility with all of this, and how down to earth you are, and how that you kind of just take the accomplishments as they come. But for aspiring professionals that would want to be in your spot someday, is there anything from this brand building aspect that you would immediately recommend to them?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing here is, just not giving up. So
Hmm.
the mindset is a huge piece of this, right? We have to be preparing for the results that are going to happen a year from now. We shouldn't
Hmm.
be preparing for 1 month from now, because in most cases, when you're getting started, 1 month, you're not going to see very much. In a lot of cases, you'll see small progress, but you're not going to see the big vision. It takes time, and I tell people all the time that we think of like some of the major brands. I think in the urban community, Fashion Nova has been a hot topic. And basically, Fashion Nova has been around for maybe 12, 13 years. And in the last 3 or 4 years, they have blew up. Well, that's just an example of building your personal brand and also building your business. It takes time and it takes consistency. You have to be willing to understand that failure is a part of success. I mean, successful people fail their way to the top. So, well, you got to realize also that if you are failing, that doesn't mean you quit. That doesn't mean that you give up and throw
Yeah,
the towel away. So,
that's great. And so now, kind of one thing that I'm sticking in my mind now is based off of what you're saying of kind of projecting into the future and future success. Obviously, I mean, given the circumstances that we're all in today with COVID-19, it's kind of hard to predict what tomorrow holds. So have you and your team had to kind of adjust your efforts abruptly in any sort of way, that really you don't know if you can mirror that effort in the future, because who knows what's going to be coming down the road?
yeah, absolutely. For BizBuzz, one of the things we did abruptly was we released a free version of our software. So we understood, we work with local businesses, and those local businesses were being impacted the most.
Hmm.
So basically, we released a free version so that we can help them try to keep afloat and keep things going, because we know, just from my background, my pedigree, I've watched maybe 7 of my closest family members all run different local businesses, and I know what it looks like for them to be, you know, potentially in a time like this to where they don't know what's going to happen next.
Hmm.
So yeah, that was one of the biggest things that I was super proud of, that now we were able to actually start helping these local businesses stay afloat for free.
That's great. And what does kind of your software exactly do, for just if you could put it in layman terms of sorts for our listeners?
Right. So BizBuzz basically provides simple integrated marketing management software for small businesses. Okay.
Awesome.
So, if I can give you a little bit more detail on that, so basically we consider there to be 5 pillars of marketing, or 5 stages in the customer journey. Okay, and that customer journey is basically the typical stage that a customer travels along before they become your customer and after they become your customer. So in those 5 stages, you have awareness, listings, reputation, and then you have the point of conversion, and then the stage of advocacy. Okay. So in each of these stages, so awareness, you have traditionally you've had things like billboards and, you know, print ads, things like that. Those things aren't going away completely, but they're just being simply supplemented by digital stimulus, right?
Mhm.
So now you got text and email marketing programs, loyalty programs. You have, social media ads, Google ads, things like that, YouTube video ads. And basically that is the awareness piece. Okay. And then basically as a customer goes from the awareness stage, they go into the listing stage, which is basically the moment that they pull out their phone after they've gotten interest and they search for your business. So they, in most cases, and not in all cases, but in most cases, they go to Google and they search the company name.
Hmm.
And once they see that, once they find that information, they're gonna do their research, right? So they're gonna look at the reviews. They're gonna see what other people are saying about you, and they're gonna formulate that opinion based off of what they see, which is
Hmm.
word of mouth. Word of mouth used to be just hey, basically walking into a room, word of mouth. But now we have access to word of mouth literally at the fingertips.
Yeah.
So, and then that last stage, next to last before they convert is that stage of that conversion. So, in most cases, this is a website. People usually go to your website and check out what you got to offer even before they come in and step foot in your store. And in most cases now they just buy online. But basically, and then once they become your customer, that's the stage of advocacy where they actually let people know, did they love the experience or did they hate the experience. So in all of these stages, we are a hybrid agency. So we provide marketing tools or software that your internal team can use to generate awareness, post on or schedule your post to go out to social media, track those analytics, send emails and texts to customers asking them to review you, literally managing your entire back end of your website, building your website. Okay. And then even your CRM or customer relations management tool as well. So all of that is in our platform so that you don't have to go to 30 different places to handle all of those, marketing efforts. And on top of that, if you don't have the bandwidth to do that, then we can actually pick up the ball and dive in and do it for you.
That's a really cool offering, and I'm sure there's a ton of local businesses out there that are even listening to this that would love to kind of jump on a tool like that and really bolster their business. Where can our audience go to learn more about you and your products with BizBuzz?
Sure. So with BizBuzz, you can actually go to my personal site, so ryandmason.com. And on that page, there's a couple of options you'll have there. You'll have one option to get started for free. And when you click on that, it'll literally take you directly to the BizBuzz website so that you can get started for free. Or if you need a little bit more help and you just need a specialist to come in, actually, I can. There's another button on the website that you can click, and that says basically to work directly with me. And from there, we can actually get on a call and spend some real time building out a plan and a strategy for you guys. So you can go to ryandmason.com to get to both of those places.
Great. And so now, kind of, as I know, you obviously look deep into the future of your businesses and you really kind of plan out, and it seems like you're very goal oriented. Could you kind of talk about a little bit more about what kind of the future holds for you personally, as well as your business, if you had to kind of break it down right now?
Yeah, sure. So for me, for one of my biggest milestones here coming up is to receive the Amazon best-selling author tag. I want to sell this book, and just because I know it'll help a lot of people, and I know that I've been fortunate enough to do some very big things in such a small amount of time, and I just want to share my success with others in hopes that they will have similar success. So I do want to also get Forbes 30 under 30. Just throwing that out there.
That's
So
awesome.
hey, I got a couple years for that, but that is, oh my goodness, I don't know what'll happen when I get that one. But for business wise, we want to literally be able to impact over 100,000 businesses. We want to make sure that we are providing a way for businesses to literally not only bring in the right people, but also have the right process to grow their business as well as the platform to do that. So we want to provide two things, twofold, so that you don't have one without the other, right? So that's where we're moving towards.
That's really cool. And I know you kind of touched a little bit more about this earlier with Lux, but do you have kind of any brand goals that you'd like to put out there too in regards to your efforts there?
Yeah, sure. So one of the major ones is being able to partner with the NFL and the NBA and soccer leagues. Oh my goodness, that would be amazing. But we want to do this in a unique way. We want to do this to bring awareness to just different social causes. That is the biggest thing because we know that right now we're going through a lot. And being locked away in our homes for extended periods of time because of COVID is causing a lot of things. So, some of the things that I'm, really keen about is, autism. Like, for example, with Lux Brand, we partner with the Easter Seals Foundation and most shows when we were on Good Morning America, just so that we can give them equal employment opportunities. And it was amazing for me just to be able to sit with those guys and to look at the joy and excitement on their face with just being considered as normal, and so autism, bringing awareness to cancer, cancer research, those are some of the things that I really want to, be an impact for and bring awareness to, and hopefully one day we can figure out how to, collectively all contribute to that effort.
That's really, really, really cool. And yeah, I think kind of as you continue to progress, because you're so young and you're doing so many different things and so active, that I think you're kind of just getting to the tip of the iceberg, so to speak, of what's going to be coming down the road for you. So I really appreciate you again taking the time with us today. And one kind of question before we jump into our lightning round of personal questions, could you give us a little overview of like who makes up your team, who you're working with directly, and kind of, yeah, what their roles are?
Yeah, yeah. So we got a pretty small team. It's nothing like 50 people, but we got in a lot of cases we got partners as well. So those partners bring in their own teams as well. We have contract manufacturers who have several people on their team. But what makes up my core team, we have a couple of salespeople who are just really, really amazing. One thing I really like about where we are is that we are close enough that we can joke with each other about a lot of personal things. you know, Sometimes I have to tell them, "All right, guys, let's let's not go there right now. We can wait
Mhm.
till after hours." But the biggest thing is some of those guys who are just working together, Armin, Charlie, Denzel, Napoleon. I mean, Miles, just so many different people who are just contributing and helping us steer the ship and
Yeah.
create growth.
That's really cool to hear, especially from the camaraderie side. And it's, I think, relating it back to you being an athlete, it's almost kind of like, yeah, the team environment or the family away from the family. Do you have kind of like, yeah, any specific things you looked for when bringing on employees and staff members that kind of are main focal points for you personally in the recruiting process?
Yeah, I think some of the biggest things, and I've made mistakes.
Mhm.
I've definitely made mistakes in the hiring process. I remember coming off of Good Morning America, and I was like, "Oh my God, if I don't hire some more people, I am gonna lose it." So, I mean, I had to assemble a team of like 15 to 20 people, like in a couple of days. It was insane.
Mhm.
But I think some of the qualities that I have, seen to be just A players through and through is one, they already have that just natural drive, and they also have those personal skills. you
Mhm.
know they are able to hold conversations with each other. They are charismatic. They value family. They value
Absolutely.
friendship. They're not all for themselves, and those are some of the qualities that I definitely make sure I look for and I check off when I am looking for other A players.
Awesome. Yeah, that's fantastic right there. And now to kind of close it off, we end every show the same way with a lightning round of personal questions. So to kind of give our audience a further peek behind the scenes, so to speak, into your life. So the first question we always ask everybody, what was the first car that you ever owned?
So it was a Ram 1500.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Yep, I can't forget the Hemi. I love that thing.
That's awesome. That's
I
awesome. And
still drive it a lot to this day.
do you?
Yeah.
Okay, cool, cool. And so what's another thing that people would be surprised to know about you?
Yeah. So I'm a hunter.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, I love to hunt. I grew up hunting and kind of got away from deer hunting.
Mhm,
It wasn't exciting enough for me, but I am
mhm.
an advocate for rabbit hunting.
Okay, cool, cool. How often do you do it, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, during season, any chance that I get, it's slacked up a little bit here lately.
Mhm.
But when I was really going, especially around the college days, when I was really going, I mean, I was almost every 2 or 3 weeks I was in the woods somewhere.
Nice, nice. That's awesome. So, next question: do you have a favorite quote or just kind of general piece of advice you'd be willing to share with our listeners?
Yes, I do. So if you're the smartest person in the room, then you're in the wrong room.
That's a great one.
That's my favorite
Absolutely.
one all time because I'm always looking for ways to like just help educate myself and also bring others up. So, you
Mhm,
know, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
mhm. Okay. And so, with kind of everything that's been going on with COVID-19, has there been any kind of binge watching on your aspect outside of the busy schedules, outside of the fitness aspect? Any kind of recommendations for TV shows to our audience?
So I usually never watch TV.
Hmm.
But what I've been doing here lately is watching TV to get my mind off work
Okay.
and business. I've been watching Avatar.
Nice. That's a good one.
So I've been watching Avatar. It's a kiddie show, guys. Yeah, it is.
That's a good one.
Yeah, but I just love cartoons. Yeah, and I'll probably be that way until I'm 60.
Love it. I love it. And so final question, if you could purchase one lavish gift, so anything in the world for yourself, what would you buy?
I would have to say, a lavish gift.
Yeah, anything in the world that's kind of like extreme. You normally wouldn't purchase it, but in this case.
A really dumb purchase?
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, something extra like that.
It would have to be a McLaren.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a car fanatic. I blame my grandfather, but I would definitely have to go and purchase a McLaren.
You'd say that would be an upgrade over the Ram?
Absolutely. I probably would put it down.
Awesome. So to kind of close out here, Ryan, any kind of final comments you'd like to make before we sign off?
Sure. Yeah. So if you are looking to purchase the digital playbook, you can actually go to my website at ryandmason.com and you can sign up for a pre-order. If you scroll about halfway down the page, you will see a section that talks about the digital playbook and what it includes, and you can hit get early access now to get started.
Fantastic. Thank you again, Ryan, for taking the time to join us today.
Thanks.
And thank you all for tuning in. You can be sure to find the link to pre-order Ryan's book as well as other resources he referenced today in our show notes. Stay safe out there, and we'll be back soon for another great episode of the My BFF Business Leaders Podcast. Hi, everyone. This is Colton Hauer, the host of the My BFF Business Leaders Podcast. I just wanted to take some time here to let you know that if you're thinking of starting up your own podcast, there's a way for you to do a show without having to become an audio editing or production wizard. Pretty Easy Podcasts help podcasters get their show recorded and posted with a complete studio at their disposal. You can record from home, your office, at the park, wherever you desire, and the Pretty Easy Podcast team will cater to that schedule and give you a producer for your show at your beck and call. If you have an idea for a show, if you have an idea for some great episodes that you want to string together and just don't want to really get into the weeds of editing and production, contact Pretty Easy Podcast today. Visit them online at prettyeasypodcast.com or visit them on Instagram and Facebook and sign up.